Aside from creating a new document from scratch, Flash Professional also gives us the ability to create a new project using a wider range of templates. In this lesson, we'll have a detailed look at some of the many types of templates that ship with Flash Professional CS6. So here on the welcome screen, in the first column, we can actually just create from template. And these are little shortcuts to take us into what is basically the template selector. We can also click more here to bring up this window. So, new from templates. This dialog contains all of the different templates that ship with Flash Professional CS6. We can see that they're organized into an array of categories. So here's advertising. And anyone familiar with doing advertising for the web as far as banners go, this has a lot of the most common sizes for different web page banner ads. Basically, when you select one of these and hit OK, it'll start us out with a particularly sized document for us to create our banner on. Let's go back to File, New, and this will take us directly back into Templates. If it takes us to General, we can easily just click on this Templates tab to access our templates again. The next category is Air for Android. So these are mobile specific and they target Android, but you could also use them to start out a project for iOS if you wanted to, targeting iPad or iPhone. So these have a number of different specific mobile samples that they come with. For instance, here we have this blank one. That's sort of the default most used size for an Android screen, 800 by 480. But note that the resolution of Android screens varies widely, so don't rely on this. We have a sample that demonstrates accelerometer. We have a sample that demonstrates a fling using tween, so flipping back and forth between objects and so forth. We have an options menu. So the options menu is fairly specific to Android. It's tied into the menu button here on the Android device, which an iOS device does not have. And then we have swipe gallery, which is basically a gallery of different objects that we can use gestures to swipe from one to the other. And these are just made to get you started. Most of these can be considered sample files. We then have a number of animation templates. So here we have animation of buttons. We have animation that shows different masked tweens, so motion tweens, shape tweens. We have one that demonstrates easing between keyframes, so forth and so on. You can see down below we've even got some animation that is scripted, so this is code-based animation. And in the description field here, we can see exactly what each one is meant for. And this tells you that, yes, we're going to be using ActionScript in here. We then have a number of banners, and we have banners that target ActionScript 2 or ActionScript 3. Here's a video banner, and a banner that shows animated buttons. We have an assortment of media playback. So a lot of these have to do with video. So HDTV, 1080, 720, NTSC, these are all video standards. But we also have some little getting started photo albums that you could use. If you're adverse to using other software for presentations, you can always actually use Flash Professional to create presentations. So here we have what's called an advanced presentation and a simple presentation. So this has things built in like keyboard navigation and so forth. And, you know, if we hit OK on this, you can see in the timeline that we've got an actions layer and we've also got an instructions layer. So these instructions are right down here and they tell you exactly how to operate this template. So a lot of these samples and templates come with documentation built in. So let's go back to that template screen. So the last category we have here includes a number of sort of miscellaneous sample files. So we have here the inverse kinematic stickman, which demonstrates how to use armatures. We have a file that demonstrates lip sync, menus, panning, different types of zooms, preloaders, even game collisions. So there are quite a few mechanisms here that you can open up and actually dig through and learn from just by kind of playing with them. And a lot of these templates and sample files are great for that. Let's create a new document. So what if we want to create our own template? We can do it pretty easily. We simply create a new document and make some adjustments as far as how we actually want our document to always appear. And we can add things to the timeline, add things to the stage. So perhaps I'll draw out an element here. And then we just go File, Save as Template. And it warns us that the history data of the Swift will be cleared. That's just fine. We don't care about that. So here we can give it a name. So let's call this Joseph's Default. And we can put it in a specific category if we want to. I'm going to create a new one called Joseph Samples. And then we can provide a description. And hit save. Okay. So let's close this out. And now we're presented again with the welcome screen. So let's go into Create from Template and go down to More. We see here that under Templates, we now have a category, Joseph Samples. And here's a template, Joseph's Default. It gives us a little preview and a description. When we hit OK, it brings that up for us just as we left it. So this is hugely useful if you're doing sort of the same type of document over and over again and don't want to go through setup each time. So this has been an example of the various Flash templates and even how to create your own template in Flash Professional CS6.